My name is Anil Kumar. Welcome to this Read to Lead series of videos. Today we are talking about 4 disciplines of execution, achieving your wildly important goals, Sean Covey and Chris McChesney. This book talks about the strategy because without strategy, without an effective method of execution itself or an activity itself is worthless. No matter how it looks, execution and strategy together is what will give you the expected results. Chris McChesney is the developer of the 4DX program, the 4 disciplines of execution program. What are the important takeaways? It is to identify the goals of the individual, goals of the family, goals of the firm. And how do you do this? By detecting what changes will exert the greatest impact. What changes will bring in the most possible or a maximum extent of benefit. The 4DX principles, the 4 disciplines of execution, work well for individuals as well as for institutions. The 4DX is a strategic process for achieving the wildly important goals, big friendly goals. First discipline teaches you to set a target because you need a measurable, specific, time-based, realistic deadlines. The second discipline identifies the activities that provide the greatest leverage for achieving the wildly important goals. What activity gives you the maximum benefit? How to ration out the resources. The lead measures or the actions that affect the outcome. What is that you should do is a lead measure. When you do, what you get out and how do you see it is the lag measure. They report the success of the activity. Discipline 3 calls for visible scoreboards that show how the team members are performing. So that continuous real-time, online, fair, authentic feedback really helps the performer to know where the light-out is, to which wall is the ladder leaning against, where he has reached and how. Discipline 4 instills accountability. This is required through maybe weekly meetings so that you will know with respect to the specific goal, where you are, why you are not there, what you need to do. The rollout process of this 4DX for anybody, individual or institution, should be inclusive of training, coaching, and providing them the tools and techniques necessary to implement the 4DX. What are the strategy blockers? What blocks the strategy? Resistance to change is a major hurdle in any new strategy. Resistance to change, inertia. Ambitious strategies require people to change their behavior. But it's not easy to change a behavior because behavior is nothing but your habits. Habits are nothing but small things that you do every moment of your life unconsciously. To achieve a goal you have never achieved before, you must start doing things that you have never done before. But when you ask people to do something totally different, they find it difficult. So you have to show them what small changes are they making. Don't tell them it's a big change. That is one way of coaching people. Then there are certain people who will not be interested in any small thing but would be interested in totally reformed way of doing things. Strategy requires a lasting change in the behavior of the people, and it will have greater challenge if you are having long-term behavioral change expectation. There are multiple reasons why people don't find it easy to implement a strategy. There are hundreds of reasons why people don't cooperate in a change. The first reason is the employees, the team believes they don't understand what their organizational objectives are. If the employees don't know what the objectives are, they will not be able to put in efforts that take you closer to the objective. Second thing, they rarely feel committed to the goal because there is no buy-in. It was not discussed with them. They were not aware what is wrong with the existing process. Neither have been then told this new process will bring what benefit to them. And third, they don't know how to contribute towards the fruition of the new objective. They are not being told what exactly is required, what action, what change in action, what particular effect or effort they need to put in to bring in the expected impact. And last but not the least, the managers did not hold the team responsible or accountable for making progress towards these objectives. If the managers themselves are not sold out, if they do not ask for feedback and provide feedback as to where the team is going and why they are accountable to ensure that the objectives are met, then we have a bigger problem on hand. Discipline 1 is to focus on the wildly important things. There are daily demands that takes most of the people's time and energy every day. This is called the whirlwind. The whirlwind is a massive amount of energy that just gets sucked out of you to keep you going on a day-to-day basis, both for the person as well as for the company. Achieving big goals in addition to staying on the top of the business is very difficult because daily operations take away a lot of your time and energy and eats up all your resources. Examine the abundance of good ideas. Ask people for ideas, examine the abundance of ideas, evaluate the ideas, select one or two exceptionally crucial goals. This is very important. The wildly important goal is nothing but one or two exceptionally crucial goals for you, for the firm or for the family. Concentrate your resources, be it time, be it energy, focus them. Put it on the top priority items. Don't let the whirlwind, the day-to-day operational requirement of time and energy blow off the resources that you put on the top priorities. Don't let the whirlwind take you off course. Changing the behavior of the frontline team is very important and it's difficult, but they are the one who should be executing the plan. Remember that. The frontline team is the one who is going to execute the plan. 99% of the decisions in any company is taken by the middle and lower management, not by the top strategy makers. So we need to have buy-in of everybody in the organization. Take on the challenge of saying no to some of the things so that you can concentrate on something which is more important. What is that? The wildly important goal, the exceptionally crucial goal, ECG or WIG, exceptionally crucial goal. Those are the things that really matter. So the resources of the family, of the firm should be concentrated on those couple of priorities. Greatest challenge is not in developing the plan. Greatest challenge is in execution of the plan. Strategy anybody can sit on a room and make up. But execution of the plan at the ground level, that is the challenge. And for this we need to have buy-in of the team. What are wildly important goals? If the existing activity is underperforming or broken, or if there is an issue with the customer service or an escalation of cost or reduction in the profit margin. These are areas where existing things will give you ideas. Then you have new things like a new product launch, a new competitor coming up, a new opportunity in a new country because of the changes in regulation. So if every other area of your operation remained at current level, what is one thing where change would have the greatest impact? If everything else is to be maintained same, what is that one thing that will change either the bottom line or top line of your company? What is that one thing? That is where your wildly important goal should remain, because that is the exceptionally crucial objective that you need to reach. Encourage ideas from everybody, every person, every team. Ask them which facet of their work needs to be improved. Ask them what is their greatest strength, and in terms of putting them to use in attaining the wildly important goal, use their strength. Find out how their strengths are wasted, how they are being misused or misfit. Find out what is wrong with the existing process or the procedures that they follow, and then look at how it can be changed to ensure they use their talent well for the benefit of the company better than what it is now. The challenge is to implement the identified one or two objectives throughout the organization. Everybody in the organization should be working towards this specific goal. It cannot so happen everybody in the team works in different direction and top management is looking at this couple of focused goals. Everybody should be working towards this objective. So implementation is the key. Strategy is easy, implementation is the key. A dozen of goals that we hope is far bad, and one or two, no matter what goals, is very good. A dozen of we hope that it gets achieved is not so good. A couple of no matter what we will achieve is more important. Seek input from everybody, and when you make the goal, make it measurable, achievable, specific, especially time bound. By X, Y. By this time, you will achieve these results. By X, Y. You will also have to say, from X to Y, you will go. This is the measurement. From X to Y, you are moved. And then you have to say, by when you will move. What are the characteristics of wildly important goals? Do not let other demands dilute your attention. Sometimes there is a top-down approach, there is sometimes a bottom-up approach. But teams won't feel high levels of commitment if it is given to them by others. if they don't think it is their own idea, their own contribution, their own solution. The organization will progress from point to another point by a set time. So you need to know where you are, you need to know where you need to be, and you need to know by when. From a given point to another point by a set time. Wildly important goals must have clearly defined, measurable, targeted achievement completed in a specific time. So for this, what we need to do? Team does not focus on all the things possible. Team should focus on a couple of WIGs. The team should always focus on one or two wildly important goals. Achieving a wildly important goal requires a keen, undivided focus, a concentration, a devotion, determination, direction of the resources into a particular direction. The battles you choose must win the war. Choose the battles wisely, but the battles you choose should win the war. All activities must be working towards accomplishing that specific one or two WIG. Senior leaders can veto, but not dictate. It is a middle manager and lower manager who will decide how they do what they do. But in the end, everything will be directed towards achieving the couple of most important, widely important goals of the organization. All WIG must have from X to Y by when time frame. By X to Y by when time frame. What is the discipline 2? Discipline 2 is act on the lead measures. Act on the lead measures. Discipline 1 is focus on widely important goals. Discipline 2 is act on the lead measures. Focusing on a vital few is the common sense. Practicing it is uncommon. That we know now. The team need to take the personal ownership of the commitments. Only then they will contribute. That we know this because that is why people don't chase really big dreams of the organization. Now, as a leader, we need to identify the actions that will give the firm the most effective, efficient, beneficial coverage, leverage towards achieving its widely important goal. Identify the actions that give you the maximum results. Each team delineates a specific activities within the measurable targets to move it forward in achieving the widely important goal. So widely important goal for the organization may be split within the teams or may not be split. But every action of the team when they are doing something, they should be conscious what action specifically of theirs will contribute towards the organization achieving its widely important goal. So the team needs to delineate the specific activities, focus their resources on it, and then keep it consciously monitored. Lag measures report whether you have completed a goal by computing your success after that. The post-mortem, after it has happened, if the measures show that you have reached the success, that is a lag measure. That is from X to Y by T time. When you say, if you are able to see that you have reached Y, that means the lag measures are giving you the right measurement that you expected. But what are the lead measures? Lead measures are more within your control and can be predicted. Lead measures is what actually you do at this moment, what your team does, so that your actions are expected to give the results that are in alignment with the widely important goal. Consider what new actions you can take, how you can leverage your team's strengths, where you can improve it, what are the weaknesses, and what you need to do differently. This will tell you what lead measures need to be changed so that the lag measure will be as expected. So act on the lead measures. Lead measures tell you where you are and where you might be. Where you have reached is found out from the log measure. Is it predictive? Is it influenceable? These are the traits. If these traits are there, then you know it is a lead measure working towards the right direction. Is it an ongoing process or a one-time event? Work towards continuing the effort with a goal. Is it a leader's game or a team game? Give it a team game. Is it measurable and worth measuring? Measurements create motivation. But is it something worth measuring and monitoring, and whether the resources that go into this is worthwhile? Make each person accountable for taking the planned action by the set time. So they will have ownership, they know what action to take, what result to expect, by when. People will work hard and people will not disappoint if they know it is their goal. People will try to avoid disappointing their boss, but they will do almost anything to avoid disappointing their teammates. So it has to be a team goal. There should be something at stake for everybody in the team, not just for the boss. If only the boss loses, the team may not be interested in the achieving wildly important goals. Then comes the discipline of keeping a compelling scoreboard. Keeping a compelling scoreboard. Scoreboards drive action. Scoreboards promote problem solving. Scoreboards boost energy. Scoreboards bring in intensity. Knowing exactly how we are performing creates engagement and dedication. Scoreboards helps us in knowing, help everyone in knowing, online real time, how we are performing, what are the lag measures. When you show progress, visually people are excited. So the graph, the color, the chart, the ranking, they matter. Choose what type of graph you want to display and update the graph regularly. It should be online real time. Current information should be there. Seeing what you are winning really motivates everybody because it is a reward by itself. The whirlwind creates urgency. Whirlwind acts on each one of us every moment of the day. So unless there is a monitoring, measurement and displaying or publishing of the result as to what your actions have led to, how your activities are contributed towards a goal, people will get absorbed in the whirlwind and forget the wholly, widely important goal. We need to regularly know where we stand, and for that we need a scoreboard. Keep it simple and clear, easy to read, so that you can display the lead and lag measures. So keeping a compelling scoreboard is also important from another perspective. It has to be simple. The scoreboard must indicate clearly where the team is and where it needs to be, the expectation as well as the current position. It has to be visible to the team. Don't keep it tucked up somewhere. Computer data may help managers, but lots of information will not motivate the team. They don't want the whole dump of measurements. They want the main figures. Put the scoreboard where everyone sees it. Make it visible and accessible. The scoreboard has to show lead and lag measures. Viewers must be able to see what they did and what they got, so that they will repeat the actions that gives a better score, and what they can do to attain the lead measure. You have to tell them what is that they should do, so that they will help you to get a better score. Scoreboard should tell you immediately if you are winning or losing. There should be no further calculation on the information provided by scoreboard. The scoreboard must communicate at a glance how the team is performing and how individuals are performing. Then comes the fourth discipline. The fourth discipline is create cadence. So for the scoreboard, participants must report their status, because unless they tell, we will not know what they did and where we have reached. Next, they have to review the scoreboard. Participants have to look at the scoreboard, only then they know they are achieving or not. If they are achieving, they will feel motivated. If they are not achieving, they will understand the need for corrective measure. Scoreboard will also tell you what lead measure is expected from them. Then the team should define what they need to achieve by the next session. So they will say, in 7 days we will get this done. The meetings are great motivators. The team meetings for sharing the feedback on the progress of the project are great motivators, because they tell you that you are accountable, you did your job, and things are okay, and it is satisfactory on the overall way of you doing what you are been doing all these days. So it gives more accountability to the people, because in the next meeting they want to show that they did perform and they did accomplish. So this is inspiring. On the meetings, concentrate only on the status of the execution of the wildly big goals. Don't let the attention dissipate. Basically, the more you try to do, the less you accomplish. Don't cram to do anything and everything. Focus on a couple of important things. You have to try not to get distracted by looking at all the options available to you. Focus on a couple of important things. You should put into operations the meetings as well as a scoreboard as an ongoing process, not a one-time, one-off occurrence. This participants willing to report on their commitment, reviewing the scoreboard, defining what they need to achieve themselves, making it their own goal, and being accountable to themselves, accountable to the team, is nothing but a cadence of accountability. There is a 6-step process for result orientation to get the result that you want. One is to clarify the goal. Everybody should know what is that specific, wildly important goal that the company is after. Then we have to design the team and the goal and the lead measures. Why we have to design? Because we need to train everybody to understand how to do this 4-step execution of the disciplines that will take you closer to the goal. Then we need to know what are the lead measures, what specific action people have to do, how do you know that you're doing it, and then we also need to know when they do it, what results we can expect. And then we have to run a leader certification workshop. That's to teach leaders to teach others, teach leaders to create a scoreboard, teach leaders to get feedback, teach leaders to monitor progress of the project. And then we have to prepare for the launching of the WX. Managers should define and lead measurements they will need to put in place. Managers should define and the lead measurements they will put in place so that people will know what is to be done. Then we need to conduct a team launch. That is a kickoff meeting. You have to call all the people who are associated with this project, and then the agenda is to teach the 4DX. 4DX is the 4 disciplines of execution. Then we have to execute with coaching, because you have to coach the employees. Once you have launched, you have to stay on track and work through the problems with the help of a coach who has expertise in all these 4 disciplines. Because every time everybody does something or does not do something, the 4DX coach will have to tell the employee how they are not in congruence with the 4DX. Then we have to organize, other than the periodic meeting for feedback, quarterly summits, so that you can report to the top management the progress. And then we need to practice accountability. We need to be responsible by not only getting things done, not only honoring our word, but also passing on the recognition reward that we got to the team that helped in this success. Most important is we need to conclude the meeting with the practice of wildly important goals. We need to show everybody, tell everybody what this wildly important goal is, what are the lead measures. Only then we can expect people to perform. Wildly important goals can be used in personal life also. For example, you will say you will lose 80 pounds in 8 weeks. So from here to here minus 80 in 8 weeks, from X to Y by some date. Identify the lead measures as walking several miles a day, or limiting the calories intake, or not eating more evenings, or cutting down on the whiskey, whatever it is. Measure and monitor the lag measures, like how is your health, where does your weight stand, how is your waist. Record on a tracking chart and hang it where you see daily. This scoreboard needs to be seen daily for you to know whether you are making progress. You will definitely be at X by Y, no doubt about it, on the given time period agreed, if you follow these 4DX principles. Discipline 1 teaches you to set a target, identify the wildly important goal and not to waste your energy on a dozen of hopes or goals. Second, discipline 2 tells you what activities that you need to perform to leverage to achieve the WIG, what brings you the maximum effect, the 80-20 principle, the Pareto principle, the activities that bring in the maximum effect for the crucially important goals, the lead measures, the actions that affect the outcome positively towards these goals. Action 3, discipline 3 calls for visible scoreboard so that people know where they stand and how they are performing, and discipline 4 instills accountability through weekly meetings and quarterly sessions. Thanks for listening to this video. We were talking about achieving your wildly important goals by Chris McChesney.